back to the channel. If you couldn't guess, autumn is well and truly here in the UK, and I quite like autumn because it's death, isn't it? Everything dies to be replaced in a blaze of glory, browns and oranges, ready for next year. And frankly, 2020 can do one. I think we probably all agree on that. But yeah, let's look forward to new beginnings. And for me personally, something of mine is dying. Well, going away. That's probably a little bit dramatic, but my Volkswagen Touareg, hopefully you can see, it's being picked up by a man from Volkswagen in a couple of days to go back. I've had it for 8 months. It's been my main family transport for that time. I've done 6,000 miles in it, which is less than usual, obviously, because of some pandemic or whatever. But I just wanted to give you a really in-depth look around what I love and what I hate, and would I have it again if I had the chance. So I'm going to kind of do a love-hate sandwich thing. It's how I review motorbikes on my motorbike channel. Tim Roby does motorbikes or something. I can't actually remember what the channel is called. That's good, isn't it? Anyway, things I like, things I hate, take you around. It's probably going to be a bit of a long video, but if you're actually interested in buying a Touareg, check this out because, well, I'm quite well placed to tell you, I think. Humble little me, standing here in the leaves. Right, get on with it, Rody. Right, first thing I actually quite like about this car is something I hated about it when I first got it and when I first looked at it. I never used to like the way that the Touareg looks with its big chrome grille, and it's all just a bit, I don't know, a bit American looking, which is ironic because you can't buy one in America. So I don't know what Volkswagen's up to with that. But yeah, I just thought it was too much chrome, too much bling. And yes, there is a black edition now which blacks all this out, but it's quite shiny black plastic, and I think that looks even worse. But now, I don't know, as a thing, it has grown on me. What do you think? You should probably tell me in the comments below. While we're on the looks, this, you will notice, is an R-Line, it's an R-Line Tech edition, so you get different wheels and bits and bobs inside, which I'll come on to. But all in all, I quite like it. I think the back's quite traditional, a bit plain, a bit Volkswagen-y, but I quite like it. I've just been in Germany on a road trip. I hope that's, yeah, that's bird shit. And I saw quite a few of them. I saw one in Merlot, kind of wine red. That looked really nice. But yeah, under all this muck, this is brown, and I really like it. I just wish the brown was slightly lighter so you could actually tell, because once it's covered in filth, it just looks black, doesn't it? Right. So I actually like the looks. Let's go on to something I do not like. Right, I'm going to start with a really minor thing that I don't like. You get this metal bar in the boot, which you can actually remove, but it's a pain in the ass to do so. That's usually, you can slide that forward to here, and that's just not very useful. There is, under here, I hope, otherwise I've lost it, there's a... there it is. It's like a big seatbelt type version of that. I can't actually do it one-handed, but there we go. That is more useful. So that slots into these guide rails and it secures your luggage. But to be honest, Volkswagen, just give us nets like in a Skoda. I find that far more useful than these kind of slidey rail things. Anyway, that's a baby carrier. You can see the boot, it's absolutely massive. Have I bent this? Might have broken that because this was jammed to the gunnels the other day for a trip around Europe, as I said. So I had a pram, bags, all of my birthday presents because it was my birthday. Wish me happy birthday in the comments and I'll give you a hand job. It was all lovely, and it all fit in there really easily. It was still, we filled it, and we filled the back seats, and we've only got one kid, and we do travel fairly light. But there we go. That is one thing I dislike, was that. But I like the boot in general. Actually, while we're in the boot, I want to show you one thing that is slightly less than impressive for a £75,000 car. This, I don't know if you can see that. Hello. That is a really, really rusty bolt. All the other ones are fine, but that one is completely rusted. So that's just, I guess, a fault in the parts supply system. Whoever makes your bolts, Volkswagen, sack them. While we're in the boot, actually just doing grown-up things. 12-volt socket, never used it. Suspension-y up and downy things, never used it, but they're good to have. Hooks, have used them. They're really useful for stopping bags rattling around. And you can fold the rear seats down. You can. I've got stuff jammed in there. because I've got the upgraded sound system. You lose a little bit of space here with the Dynaudio subwoofery thing, and otherwise it's just usual gubbins in there, jacks and things. They're all the options. It's not quite the same as the plaque you get in a Ferrari. But there we go. Right, let's go inside. No, let's go under the bonnet, because that is a whole cave of love and hate. Let's see if I can remember how to open the bonnet. This is where, if you've reviewed lots of cars and opened the bonnet on lots of cars, you realise this is exactly the same bonnet opening mechanism as the Porsche Cayenne and Bentley Bentayga, because this is a Bentley Bentayga and a Porsche Cayenne underneath, really. V6 petrol engine! Yeah, I wasn't very sensible when I spec this car. I got the petrol version, the 340 horsepower petrol version. I've just talked about this in the car, so I'm going to cut to that now. This is probably a good time to talk about the engine, because obviously I didn't pick the usual 6-cylinder diesel for this. I went for a slightly left field 340 horsepower turbocharged V6 petrol engine, which you also find in the Porsche Cayenne, the basic one. It's probably related to the engine in the Audi S4 and S5 before they went diesel. It's not usual choice for a big SUV, and it's exactly what I expected, really. It's quicker than the diesel, it's smoother and quieter than the diesel, it's a lot more thirsty than the diesel. My long-term average on the old Trip Computerino, he says, is 26 mpg, and that's a lot of that is town driving. On motorways I've seen it as high as 32, but yeah, it's thirsty. But the main thing I love about the engine is the smoothness and the quietness, because you just don't really hear it. It just fades into the background. It reminds you that diesel engines, as refined as they can get in 6-cylinder forms, are inherently a bit noisier. Also, when you do put your foot down, you get quite a nice growl. It's muted, and you probably won't be able to hear it over the sound of child seats rattling in the back, but I'm about to go into a 70-mile-an-hour limit from about 40, and I'll put it in sport mode. Doesn't change the noise, but it'll hold on to gears longer and you might be able to hear it. Right. Noise test of a very quiet car. Right, second gear, 30 miles an hour. Can you hear that? Probably not. As I said, very quiet. If I had the choice again, would I pick the petrol over the diesel? I'd probably go diesel, to be honest. It just does suit the nature of the car a bit better, and given how the gearbox in this car, it's a bit laggy, and like when you're pulling away from a roundabout, there's a bit of a delay, and it's a bit sleepy, to be honest. I think the diesel might suit that bit better, a bit more low down torque away from the line. But yeah, that, if you missed it, was one thing I don't like about this car, the gearbox. But even just putting around town, pulling away, it's just there's a bit of a delay, and it's all a bit of a, I don't know, do I really have to go? Do I really have to accelerate? Yes, you do. Please accelerate. Now, as I've said, when I spec'd this car, I threw the kitchen sink at it, and my favourite option's probably the air suspension and the 48-volt anti-roll bars. I thought that they might give it a bit of a sporty side in sport mode to drive, but it doesn't. It's all about comfort. Those 48-volt anti-roll bars, you don't feel them working, but I imagine if you drove this back-to-back with the Touareg that doesn't have them, you would notice. And as a package, altogether, it's an incredibly comfortable car to drive. This is a really bumpy road. I'm in normal mode, and honestly, I've done 6,000 miles in this, and it's been a joy to get into for long motorway trips, or even just trips down really bumpy roads. I've got into Bentley Bentaygas and Aston Martin DBXs, even a Rolls Royce since I've had this car, and they're all more comfortable, but they're also all twice the price, and I would say they're only 10% more comfy than this. This is a proper wafting machine. That's what it's designed for. There's no sportiness. One of the things I hate is how the stability control kicks in quite early in comfort mode. When you're going around roundabouts at, sensible speeds, It just says no, no, and you hear it clamp the brakes on the outside wheels. I think it might be the roll mitigation. Volkswagen says that's not normal. I've only really complained about it too late. The car goes back next week, so that might just be a problem with this car, but it does annoy me. Put it in normal mode, sport mode, it's fine, but in comfort mode you just sense that it can't control the body while being soft and comfortable. So there we go, one thing I hate. You still there? Sorry, it was a bit boring, wasn't it? Probably a bit noisy because it's raining when I drove here. Yeah, as I said, kind of love that. Probably wouldn't do it again though. So there we go. Right. Now this is a slightly terrible bit of the video because I can't actually really show you this. But the headlights, I spec the LED Matrix Fancy Pants Volkswagen headlights. And I only really got to use them the last month of ownership because I had this car through the summer, didn't do much driving at night. But when I was in Germany last week, did loads of driving at night. Yeah, these things are flipping clever. The way they work to get them in their best mode is you pull the light stalk behind the steering wheel twice and it puts it into automatic main beam. And then it basically leaves your main beam on all the time above, I think above 30 miles an hour, don't quote me on that. And it blocks out cars coming towards you, so it doesn't actually dip the main beam, it just blanks out a bit of the light, and you see it, like you see a black square around each car that's coming towards you. It's really cool, and no one flashes at you to, you know, tell you your lights are on main beam, so I presume it works. So yeah, really impressed with the headlights, and that's an option that's definitely worth having if you get a Touareg. Right, I just want to tell you about probably my second favourite option. Sorry, that's a bit rude. My second favourite option that I spec'd on this, and bear in mind this is a 75 grand car, it's kind of got everything on it. The four-wheel steering is game changing. It's amazing. So when you turn the front wheels, the back ones turn in the opposite direction at low speeds. When you're going fast, they turn in the same direction at high speeds for more stability. The high speed stuff, don't really notice, it just feels very stable. And I did take this to quite high speeds. I did an indicated 160 miles an hour several times in Germany in this, and I cruised at 130 miles an hour for ages. And there's a plane taking off, so apologies for that. But yeah, as I was saying, at low speeds, that's where you really notice it. I live down a really tight road and I have to parallel park in between other cars on the pavement, and I thought this was going to be an absolute pain in the arse because it's about 5 meters long. It's a bit of a Leviathan. These, honestly, getting into and out of car parking spaces, in bay parking, in parallel parking, wherever, doing U-turns, it makes it feel so much smaller and gives you so much confidence to park it. It's really boring to talk about because you can't see it, but when you drive it, I don't know, it feels like you're driving a Tiguan, not a Touareg. So 100% get four-wheel steering if you get Touareg. And you can't get it on the Bentayga, which is nuts. But anyway, there you go. I've talked about that enough. And yes, look, it is a petrol SUV. I've not had anyone at the petrol pump say, oh, you're putting the wrong petrol in it. But there we go. Now, before we go inside, I should point out, this is kind of warts and all. I've not really cleaned the car since doing 1,500 miles in a week with a baby and my girlfriend. So it's kind of messy in there, so just don't judge me on anything you're about to see. Might be a bit grim. Right, let's go inside into the back. Loads of room, the seats recline, and come forward. There we go, so the seats, you have them ridiculously upright, that's stupid. But you can recline them a little bit, so you can see the difference there. These ones are in the normal position, this one is more reclined, and you can slide the whole thing, but there's a baby seat in there, so it's not going to move. Yeah, baby seat fits, loads of room, blah blah blah, that's all fairly good stuff. It's going to get a bit dark. I like it's got heated rear seats, and you get a whole control panel here to control the temperature. In the back of the Touareg, I told you this was grim, there is a nappy. It is clean, I hope. And there's a Euro, and that is Vista Map for the Imperial War Museum in Duxford, which is the best museum in the world. Other cool things in the back, you've got the usual armrest with cup holders in it for your rear seat passengers. Not used that. My 20-month-old daughter doesn't need it. Seatbelt, that folds neatly into the seat base there. I don't know what else I can tell you about the back. I've not spent a huge amount of time here. You can turn the lights off from the front. I've got the panoramic sunroof, which isn't all the way back. Weird. Anyway, should we go up front? There's a lot to talk about up there. This is the screen that tells you that you've got the R-Line and you've got the upgraded sound system and all that kind of stuff. Right, let's start the car up. Woo, the seat moves to get you closer to the wheel. A nice touch that I really love in the Touareg is when you put the seatbelt on and drive off, when you get above about 10 miles an hour, it gives you a little reassuring tug to tell you that you're safe and you're strapped in. I think it's on all of the cars on this, is it MLB platform? The car journalist and me should probably know that. But basically it happens in the KN and the Bentayga as well, and probably the Q7. But it's a nice touch. Right. Other interior things. Let's start with what you hold when you're driving. It's the steering wheel. It is heated. It's got 3-stage heating. However, the steering wheel is heated, but you have to go into the aircon menu on here. The aircon menu on here, and then you can turn it on and off, the 3 stages there. And you kind of have to do all the aircon stuff through here. There's no physical buttons. Normally that vexes me, but I've kind of got used to this. And it's super quick. And you've always got max heating for the windscreen and the rear window here, no matter what screen you're on. So I really like that. Yeah, see, they stay there. More cars should do that. But yeah, you've got buttons here to control the digital dashboard, so you can have full screen sat nav. You can just show that you're listening to Radio 1 like the young person that I am. You can do your telephone stuff. You can have a thing that just says your car is fine. I presume that's got an alternative menu which says you're fucked, you're on fire. Head-up display, I don't know if you can see the head-up display, but it's big, it's really colourful. It's not showing much at the moment apart from the speed limit and the speed you're going, but really useful. I basically never look at this for my speed. It's got off-road data, never taken it off-road. And you can see my average MPG and long-term MPG and all that kind of stuff. It's your normal digital dashboard. It's really good, and you can always quickly see your fuel range here. On a full tank, this will get me 450 miles, this car. I've never seen a bigger fuel range than that. Obviously it's based off your average MPG, but there we go. If you get the petrol one, 450 miles range. I bet if you get the diesel one, that's more like 600, but I'm kind of guessing here. Turn lights off down here. I didn't realise this button that says auto, actually, yeah, it has other bits on it as well. So there we go, and it shows you what your headlight status is in there. This is getting really deep, isn't it? I should probably chill out a bit. This, if you can see here, is probably my most used button in the Volkswagen Touareg, because you press that and it brings up the driver assistance menu, so you can turn the lane assist off, and then you press that again and it goes away. That lane assist, it's not the most annoying. The Golf 8's motor is much stronger than this, but it's still super annoying, and it just jinks you all over the place. Often, kind of not where you want to go. Yeah, it's not dangerous, it's just really bloody annoying. I turn it off on every journey now, because it just like, you're constantly fighting it. So that's a pretty big hate, but every modern car has this, and it has to reset by default every time you turn the car off and back on, so you have to do it every time, so that they can get more scores from Euro NCAP, the crash safety people. Nonsense, but hey, there we go, it's part of owning a modern car. This screen, the big screen, you can get a smaller screen, but because this is a top spec, I'm a car journalist, give me the best one job, is super good, it's super accurate, it's just easy and quick to use, and yeah, it's got Google Maps as well, just like that screen there. Yeah, to enter a postcode, you just type it in up here, or you can type the name of the road, or you can type the name of the place. It's just a clever, like you're Googling it, basically. I really like that, and you can see all the places I've been to in Germany, and I actually remember typing this in then, because you can get the umlauts up really easily. The Touareg's umlaut access is very good. There we go, look, you can have your umlaut. Ooh! So yeah, really good. The sat nav is clever. It gives you 3 route choices, and it can automatically send you around traffic jams and stuff, so really like that. I've not had any problems with the infotainment. It crashed the other day once actually, but I just held this button, which is the volume knob, which actually I never use, and it turned it off and on. You've got loads of other stuff, apps and internet and images. I've never used any of that stuff. This button here will make it smaller, and you can swipe and you go through your Heart 90s, best station. You can go through your radio stations there, and you can have all these different screens. It's really customizable, and it's actually really easy to use. What I have used a lot is the cooled seats. They're pretty weak, to be honest, the cooling. I've had that on pretty much all year. It's a nice feeling, but it's not gonna, really stop your back sweating. Source me with a sweaty back. Heated seats are there. What you can't see here, and you have to press a button down here, is one of my favorite things about this car. I love the massage seats. They're really good. They're really good, and you can choose different massage options. Yeah, I like that. One thing I'd say about massage seats is it's not really strong. It's not going to give you a proper massage, but it's decent. Doesn't do your bum. So if you want an anal massage, this is not the car for you. In fact, the only car I've ever been in that has massaged my chocolate starfish was the Rolls-Royce Ghost, and that had massage bits in the seats and the base of the seats. This has only got massage bits in the backs of the seats. Sorry, as my coat and everything else. Right, what more do you need to know about the inside of the Touareg? I said I was going to go into a lot of detail, and I'm sorry if I've sent you to sleep, but hey, actually one thing I can talk about is this little dial here. So this is the mode selector. That's comfort, normal, sport. I spoke about this a bit in the driving section of this, but yeah, comfort mode's where it lives most of the time, but you do get the stability control kicking in a lot around roundabouts. I stick it into normal, and you can stick it into sport. I did that when I was on the Autobahn, just lower the car a bit. I think it lowers automatically at high speeds, but when I was doing 160 miles an hour, I kind of wanted sharp throttle response to get there quickly, and sharpen up suspension as well. I've set individual up to be basically normal everything, but with a sporty chassis. So there we go. And this little duty here, that adjusts your ride height. You can sync it to the driving modes. I've never really fiddled with that apart from once when I was getting out for a really sticky car park, and it does increase the ride height to a stupid amount. Like, and the car looks ridiculous when it's in the highest ride height mode, and it automatically goes back down when you get over a certain speed. There we go. Oh, cubby under here with some spare tissues. They're not standard, they're mine. USB is in there as well. You've got USB here. This is wireless charging. I use that all the time. It's bloody brilliant. Right, that's too nice. I need to find one more thing I hate. Right, time to be a bit honest. Something you didn't know about me. I'm a bit crap at parallel parking. I can do it, but sometimes, you know, it takes two goes. And I drive so many cars, it's quite hard to learn a method which always works. But anyway, less of that. What I want to talk about is the auto parking system on the Touareg. Getting distracted here, trying to set it up. The auto parking system, there's a button for it here. You think, oh, I just banged that. No, it says park assist, press button on infotainment system to activate. So yeah, you press this, that doesn't do anything. You've got to press this parking icon, and then this, and then, oh my god, this is, you've got 6 options because I'm basically parked in a field, it's not working. So you have the bay ones, the parallel ones, and the reverse bay parking. You have to select one of those, and then you press and hold this, and it does do very clever things and shows you the path the car is going to take on an augmented reality thing. But by the time you've done that, someone's hooting at you and saying, just bloody park, will you? So yeah, these systems used to be easier to use, and the one in my Skoda Kodiaq VRS I did actually use all the time, because I said I live on a road where I have to parallel park, and quite often when a space is tiny, I'm like, I can't get that in there, but the car says, yeah mate, got you, I'll get you in there, and so I'd use it. But this I've not really used. I've used it twice maybe. It's such a faff, I've not bothered. So auto parking in Touareg, just get good. Get good. Let's talk about sound. I've got the upgraded Dyno Audio sound system in this Touareg, and it's pretty decent. The bass is thumpy. I usually really judge people that turn up the subwoofer levels in cars. When you get a press car and someone's left the subwoofer turned all the way up, I want to find out who had that car before me and write them a stern letter for being a bit chav. I've actually turned up the subwoofer in this car quite a bit because it's got a decent sub in the boot, but by default you can't really hear it very much. So my thumping tunes, it's been really good. I could hear it at 160 miles an hour. What more do you need to know? I would always upgrade the stereo in a car because I think the entry-level systems are usually a bit meh. Hello. Another thing that I like about the Touareg is the frameless rear view mirror. It just looks classy. Like, you see ones with like these really thick black rims around them, and they're just a bit rubbish. So yeah, that is one thing the Touareg does really well, is making you feel like you're in a posh car. It doesn't feel like, I don't know, it feels posher than a Passat by a country mile. This lighting that you get when the ignition's off is really quite nice. That's a real tarty thing to say, but I quite like it. It makes me feel good. What's quite clever is the owner's manual and everything is in this little net here, which means you get the whole glove box to yourself. And guess what? There's a nappy in there. what is my life? But yeah, that's quite clever, quite smart, quite like that. This is the R-Line, so it gets the R-Line seats. I've spoken about the seats, kind of running out of things to say. So yeah, I should probably do an outro, shouldn't I? Right, well, I'm sorry that probably went on a bit, but I just wanted to show you everything that I've learned about this car in 6,000 miles and 8 months of living with it, because I've kind of been surprised by it. It wasn't really a car that was on my radar, but Volkswagen said, hey, do you want to run one? And I'm like, yes, I need a big family car. And it's been really comfortable, quick enough, handles reasonably well. It's kind of a cruiser more than anything else though. The four-wheel steering is game-changing, absolutely love that. I would have that on any big SUV that I have in future. It's expensive, like after all the options and stuff we put on it, 75 grand is too much, but you can get a normal one for like 50, 60. And second hand, if you can pick this exact car up now, 6 months on, you're probably going to have saved like 20 grand or something. I think it might depreciate quite a lot, this one. So look out for this one, KY20 CAU. But in general, I've been really, really impressed with the Touareg. And I don't know if I've fallen in love with it. I fell in love with my Skoda Kodiaq VRS. That's sad. I shouldn't be saying that as a motoring journalist, but you take these cars on holidays and they become part of the family. This has become part of the family, but still, it's kind of like, it's slightly cold. It's like machiny. It's very thirsty. I've not really noticed that because we're in a pandemic. Yeah, I like it. I really like it. I would give it 7.5 out of 10. It's got lots of tech, lots of comfort things. What would I have instead? Well, you could be looking at an Audi Q7, but I prefer the way this looks, and it's a bit more understated, which is a bit more me. What else could you have? You get Mercedes GLE, something like that, maybe even a GLS. No, probably not a GLS. GLE, again, not really me. They're a little bit chintzy, I guess. But yeah, if you've got any questions, stick them in the comments and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Right, I'm going to go back home and have some lunch. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out my motorbike channel, whatever it's called. Tim Rohde. I changed the name of it this morning, that's why I can't remember. Tim Rohde does motorbikes or something. Tim Rohde rides motorbikes, probably. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. What a load of waffle. See you next time. Goodbye.